Here's another common question. People ask me sometimes when I'm talking about making connections with other folks, they say, okay, fine. You want me to make connections with people who are different from me. But what if somebody's beliefs are truly evil? What if this is a person who believes something that I find so incredibly revolting or immoral or simply flat out harmful that I don't think I should be engaging with that person because we're talking about someone who really does have evil beliefs? First of all, I want to name the fact that actually I believe in evil. I believe that we can make evil choices. I believe that we can do evil actions. And I also want to say that when I talk about making connections with people who are quite different from you, I do not believe that you should put yourself in a situation where you are literally in danger, where somebody is actually physically going to hurt you. That is not, in most cases, worth the kind of thing that I'm talking about. But I do encourage people to ask themselves a question when they're entering into a situation or they're considering entering into a situation. Is it the case that you are actually in danger in this conversation? Or are you simply uncomfortable in this conversation? I trust that you're going to make that judgment for yourself. You don't need me to make that judgment for you, but I do encourage you to ask yourself that question. Am I in danger of harm, or is it just that I'm extremely uncomfortable? Also, why is it that you believe that you are in a situation with a person who has evil beliefs? Have you heard that particular person articulate those evil beliefs, or are you making assumptions about that person that might not actually be true? So that's another thing to maybe think about. And then lastly, in this piece, I encourage you to choose the conversation that is the right level of scary. The thing that feels like it's a little bit of a push for you, but it's not so much of a push that the fear is overwhelming or you think you might actually be harmed. Choose the right level of scary. We need to get outside of our comfort zones. We don't have to do things that are genuinely terrifying. Not everybody has to talk to everybody. It's not the case that we all have to make relationships with the people that we think it would be hardest to make a relationship with. You need to make some relationships with people who are different from you, but that doesn't mean you have to choose the most difficult possible case. However, even though not everybody has to talk to everyone, I do want to emphasize again the inherent value in the connection. Just having the conversation with the person who's from a different political point of view, or a different theological point of view, or a different cultural point of view, or a different class point of view, having that conversation is the beginning of transformation. Being in relationships, surprising each other with the ways that you end up behaving, challenging each other's assumptions, starts the transformation process in one another. You might not see results in that conversation. That doesn't mean you didn't plant seeds. And building these kinds of relationships also prevents violence because, as we've talked about before, it's interrupting things like rumors and stereotypes and mutually escalating extremism. If we are connected to each other in some way, then we're not dehumanizing each other. A lot of people will tell me that they don't make connections with people on the other side of the political spectrum because they believe that they just shouldn't, that the folks on the other side of the political spectrum are just bad. They're just wrong. They're choosing evil. And when it comes to that kind of thing, I want to name the idea that we are talking about a manner of moral purity. When the left says, I won't engage with the right because they might actually harm me with their opinions, I'm not talking about physical actions. I'm talking about opinions. Or when the right says, I won't engage with the left because they might harm me with their opinions. Again, not physical actions, those are genuine harm, but opinions. That is a pretty seductive belief. Moral purity, saying I shouldn't engage with people from the opposite end of the spectrum because it is harmful to do so. That is a really seductive idea, but it's ultimately not helpful. It feels good to feel like we're righteous, I think that's the part of this that is so seductive, is that I'm in my little bubble with my people who agree with me, and we are righteous and we know what is the right thing to do. And we're not engaging with those other folks because they're just wrong. They're just wrong and dangerous. But interestingly, when I do that, that also makes sure that my own positions are never going to be challenged. Whatever ideas I have about right and wrong will not be challenged as long as I'm not willing to engage in a genuine, vulnerable conversation with somebody who disagrees with me. It makes sure that my positions will never be changed so long as I never engage. But it also makes sure that the other person's positions will never be changed so long as I never engage. Because the only way that hearts change is in the context of relationship. So, what if somebody's beliefs are truly evil? First, ask yourself if you know what their beliefs really are. Second, ask yourself, okay, so they do have truly evil beliefs. They have beliefs that are totally wrong. Will it actually hurt me to engage? And then thirdly, if it will, if there's legitimate harm that's going to come to you because you're engaging in that conversation, then don't do that. But it's often the case that it's not true that there's harm there. And so that's when I would encourage you to, again, choose the right level of scary and reach out, because the impact of having connections and relationships is huge. Starting with the next video, we're going to go into a new series, which is called Having Conversations. And that series of videos will be about different models that help us support how to actually go about having a conversation with this theoretical person who's very different from me. What do I even do? What do I say? How do I decide how to go about it? That's what we're starting next time we talk.